Hello and welcome. I hope you had a lovely long weekend. Today's exciting episode is a monthly sewing plans for September, and it's all autumn tones. Well, at least the tweeds are autumn toned.
It's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Perfect jacket.
Okay, I rounded up a few orange jackets. Orange-ish, brown-ish. Yeah, so these are ones that I made before, obviously, but this month I am hoping to make more tweed jackets, and I think it's a while since I've done a beaded trim on a jacket, so I might even do one of those. Although I love the all-over embellishments. They're my thing at the moment. I absolutely adore them. But I do also love making the beaded trim. It's just a different type of creativeness, if that's a thing. Anyway, so this month there will be an episode on everything that I made last month, which is everything that's on the rack. They're all ready for me to film that episode. And I only finished 13 things last month. But most of that was because the things that I made are like layer cake dresses and embellished jackets. And oh my goodness, beading just takes so long. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it, and they were so completely worth investing the time in. But yeah, that's why I made a few things less than I usually do in each month, which isn't a bad thing. It's more sustainable to make a smaller amount of things. And so I'm definitely, if I have time this month, I want to make another embellished jacket because they're just so creatively challenging, but also technically challenging. I love them, and it turned out so beautifully. So yeah, really, really happy with the beaded jackets I made last month. Did mean that I didn't get to finish any of my unfinished jackets. So these ones, the outer jacket is made, and I've cut the lining, but I haven't made the lining, or some of them I've made the lining, but yeah, and I need to sew the lining in and then they're ready to bead. So these are technically, they're unfinished, but they're very close to being finished. So this month I do want to start some new jackets, but I also, I want to make some new jackets, but I also really, really want to finish those ones. Speaking of new jackets, these are the tweeds that I've pulled for this month. So I've gone with the browns, the autumn tones, so oranges and browns. So probably Vogue 7975 is my go-to pattern, but I crop it a little. But also I love Burda 6123, which is a dolman sleeve. So basically you cut front left, front right, and then the whole of the back in one piece. So yeah, with something with a very prominent pattern that I have to pattern match, the dolman sleeve one makes it really easy. So I was thinking, maybe the Burda one for that. And then I've got this burnt orange sequin jacket, and I just love the weight of sequin. With sequin, I probably wouldn't do all over beading. I would probably do a beaded trim instead, because sequin fabric is already pretty fabulous as it is. And also it would be just really difficult to bead into, I think. So yeah, and I mean, I love it because of the sequins, and so I wouldn't want to cover them up. Next up, we have one of those bubbly knits. So it's wool, but it's just put together a different way. So it's a knit rather than a woven. I had one of these last month in different colorway. So it was magenta, brown and olive. And this one is sort of more caramels, chocolate and black and white. And I love it. It reminds me of of a forest floor or something. Or, beneath pine trees where the pine needles are and mushrooms and things. Anyway, so I want to make this up into a jacket because I think it would be really interesting to bead. I don't know, I think I'll bead in the crevices maybe. It just seems like a really interesting challenge for me. Next we have a sort of, when people say something is tweed, sort of boring, then this is the kind of tweed I think of, one of those really traditional ones. Again, maybe the dolman sleeve jacket because of the pattern matching, but I also love all the colours in it. Like when you look at it from far away, it sort of looks like a greyish brown and beige, but when you look at it closely, it's got all these different colours in there, and it reminds me of autumn leaves changing from green to orange, yellow to orange to brown. I love it. And this one is a very Chanel looking tweed to me. I love it. It's got ribbons and there's also a lot of different silver in there. There's also some micro sequins in silver. And it's just such a strong mix. It's got to be 2 or 3 dozen different things in there, different yarns, metallics, ribbons. I love it. And one side is slightly more oatmeal and the other side is slightly more caramel brown. And yeah, I just think it's so beautiful. It's going to be incredibly difficult to work with because it's just going to fall apart because it's so loosely woven. But I just love the difficult ones just look so beautiful once they're done. So yeah, really looking forward to that one. Another very Chanel looking tweed. And again, it's got lots of ribbons in there and all different colours. What I love about this one is this reddish brown and the blue in there. So yeah, again, it's a loosely woven one, so it's so soft. And yeah, I just love all the ribbons in there and all the different textures and different types of yarns. There's some metallic ones in there as well. It's just the weirdest mix of colours and it really should not work. But I think it's kind of fabulous. So yeah, I'm not sure what colour beads. I've got some blue ones that are that exact same blue. So perhaps I'll use them. I'm not sure. It's just going to be so interesting and challenging to work with though. It's incredibly beautiful. I love it. From far away, it looks kind of completely different. And then we have another boring one. I literally bought this because I have a lot of brown beads and that's what I was going to use them on. But I've also got loads of other tweeds that I could bead with brown beads. But yeah, that's why I bought this one. Also, it's kind of nice and I don't have anything like this. So yeah, but I thought maybe I can use sequins on there as well. It's not just the little sort of small to medium sized brown glass beads. I think that would look interesting. It would take a long time though. I think I'd rather sort of sequin one of those Chanel style tweeds rather than this, because when you embellish using sequins, you're just staring at the tweed for like days and days and weeks on end. So yeah, I'd prefer to do one of the really beautiful ones than something that's a little bit more boring. Oh, and I've got a gingerbread coloured corduroy. So it's 100% cotton, but it's cord. And yeah, I think at the end of last month, I did a pattern haul and one of them was one that I want to make as a jacket length coat and I want to make it in corduroy. I think that'd be lovely. I also have from last month's fabric haul, I have that cotton that I want to make a shirt from. It's got rose hips and berries in it. It's very autumn tones. So yeah, I was thinking I'll make that up into a vintage style shirt from my 1940s Simplicity pattern. And of course, there are the patches, the leftover fabric bits. Oh, but before we get to them, oh, actually, it's behind that one with the purple mauve beaded trim. I've got a stack of fabrics for a fabric haul that I want to do. I just bought loads of fabrics in the past month or two. And yeah, they're sort of autumn tones, mainly cottons that I want to make shirts from, vintage style shirts from, but also a few denims, that sort of thing. And, but before I can do that fabric haul, I still haven't used any of the fabrics that I showed you last month in last month's fabric haul. And when I did the layer cake episode recently, I had quite a few people ask if I could do an episode where I show step by step really clearly how to pleat down fabric. And so the 2 layers of it, like if you're doing a 3-tier skirt on your vintage dress, how you sew them all together and how you do the pleats. So this fabric here, I've got 5 yards of it and I am going to make an absolutely gorgeous pleated down 5-yard vintage dress using all of that fabric. So that will most likely be the next episode that you see. Then there'll be a jacket one, but then after that, I think I'll do more use up more of my scraps of fabric. Oh, I've also been asked if I can do a how to make a fringe for a Chanel style jacket. And actually, when people see this jacket, it's the beading that they focus on for the first 10 minutes, but then they eventually notice that this has a handmade trim. So yeah, I've got a couple of half-made jackets that need trim, so I might do that, but making fringe just takes such a long time. So I will, if I have the time, I will do it. I will try to get to it this month, maybe next month. And this is another mostly finished jacket. All I have to do is sew in the lining and then finish the beading around the neckline. So it's so close to being finished, and I don't want to actually move it off that mannequin until it's done, because it's so fragile until the lining is in, which reinforces the neckline. So that's why it's still there. So yes, this month is going to be very jacket focused, but I also do want to make a few more patchwork dresses. All the green scraps that were left over after the green and pink dress are now very close to being turned into a dress, and then I think I'll do a black and white one with fat quarters after that. And I also have the leftover pink ones. As you can see, there's a few pink fat quarters in there as well. So I think with this one, I'm going to do that Simplicity Empire line dress. Of these two red dresses, it's the one on the left, and the one on the right is the vintage one that I've been making all my patchwork dresses out of. But I really think the Empire line dress will work well with the pinks. Well, hopefully, anyway. I suppose because it's autumn month, then I should be using the oranges and the browns of my leftover fabrics. But I don't know, I have very specific ideas for a couple of stacks of the leftover fabric. So I think I'll just go with my enthusiasm instead of trying to force myself to use the autumn tones. Because, the tweeds will be in the autumn tones. But then, with the fabrics, I think I'll just try and use up as much of that leftover fabric as I possibly can. Anyway, that is it for my September plans. I'm going to make a few new jackets, try and finish a lot of the almost done jackets, trying to get a little bit of beading done. Actually, I'm in the mood to do a lot of beading, but we'll see what we see. There will be a fabric haul of autumn toned fabrics, mostly cottons that I want to turn into vintage shirts. There's also this cotton from last month with the rose hips and the berries in autumn tones that I really, really want to turn into that 1940s shirt. This is as we speak, becoming a vintage dress and a pleating video all in one. And all these green strips of fabric are magically morphing into a dress too. Well, they're magically morphing into fabric, which will eventually magically morph into a dress. There's a lot of work involved in piecing all those leftovers together. Oh, and of course, there's the Everything I Made in August video, which probably be the next one that I shoot. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Which tweed do you think I should make up? I'm very partial towards those two Chanel style tweeds. I just think this is going to be such a challenge and so fun to bead once it's done. It's absolutely gorgeous, but I kind of like all the tweeds this month. I mean, I bought them. Of course I like them. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope my ridiculously ambitious sewing plans for this month have spurred you on and you've made some ridiculously ambitious plans of your own. And hopefully at least some of those plans will be realised. For me, that is. I am so determined to use up all these leftover bits of fabric. Oh, you do not understand my level of determination. It is going to happen for reals. Okay, happy sewing.